Okay, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on wherever you are in the world. My name is Michael Tibbetts. I am the client client specialist here at the TradeStation Securities, and today we're going to be going through getting started with the TradeStation desktop. So thank you all so much for joining me for this class. Before we get started, we're going to go ahead and run through the necessary disclosures. So all symbols and trading ideas discussed today are for demonstrational purposes only, and they're not recommendations. All active trading involves risk and may not be suitable for everyone. And of course, anything that you're looking at the charts here, past historical performance does not guarantee future results. It's not indicative of future performance. So make sure you're aware of that as well. For additional information on these disclosures, you can visit www.tradestation.com/important-information. The link is right here at the bottom of this slide here. Okay, and thank you all so much for joining us. So for those of you that are tuning in from YouTube, we're going to be doing a Q&A session following this presentation on youcantrade.com. This is the website where the Getting Started channel with TradeStation is hosted. It's free to create an account. Just go to youcantrade.com to get a subscription. It's free. And then you'll see the Getting Started channel on the left-hand side there. So if you have any questions that we're not able to address in this class today, since we're only going for about 45 minutes, be sure to join us thereafter. We're going to be doing Q&As. That said, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to hop into the TradeStation desktop platform. So once you log into the platform for the very first time, you're going to come across a screen that looks just like this one here that you'll see TradeStation today. This is actually a workspace, which we'll get into a little bit later, but this workspace opens up by default. Anytime there's a new update, like right now, as you can see, we have an update that's showing. It's just telling you what things have happened, what they've changed. So right now, this is telling us that a new indicator is now available for the radar screen or an updated version of the indicator. You can also just close this out. And as you can see, this is kind of like a quick and easy place where you can open up some pre-built workspaces and also check out some upcoming events, some news, what's happening, right? Kind of gives you a countdown timer of the market. This is great and all, and some people really love this, but the point of this class is actually to show you how to build your own workspace, and we're going to go through some popular applications that TradeStation has to offer, just so you can kind of get familiar with what you can do with the platform. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. On the bottom left, you can click on Close Workspace, and that'll go ahead and close out the TS Today window, and you'll be left with a blank window like this. Hopefully everybody can hear me real quick. If you can hear me on the chat there, make sure you have your chat set to message everyone. Just want to give me a thumbs up or just say hello, just to make sure everybody can hear me. I would appreciate that. Okay, great. Thank you. Awesome. Great. Hi. How you guys doing? All right, so the first things first, we're going to go through charts, right? So everybody loves charts. It's a great way to visualize what's happening in an instrument that you're looking at. So we're going to go ahead at the top and we're going to hover over apps. Hovering over the apps is going to display the application window. I'm going to actually hide my video real quick just to make sure that I'm not blocking any of the apps that you're going to see while we're screen sharing here. So yours may be arranged differently. You can actually click and drag to rearrange the apps any way that you like. So I'm going to go ahead and start with chart analysis. We'll open up the chart and we'll see how that appears. So once you open up the chart, a couple things. Anytime you have a chart that's open, it's just going to default to whatever stock is there. I think by default we have Cisco here, and changing symbols on a chart is very easy to do. You can either click here on the top left to change your symbol. You can either spell the company name if you don't know the stock ticker, or you can just enter it anywhere, clicking anywhere in the active window. So let's say I happen to just click here and I start typing something, you'll start seeing a command line appear. This little box is going to send whatever it is that you're typing to the last window that you click in TradeStation. So in this instance, we clicked on the chart last. So anytime I type something here, for example, if I type Apple, the stock ticker for Apple, and I hit enter, it's going to update that information on the chart. So very, very easy for you to change symbols And the same thing works with time frame or any one of these um, different things here on the top, these different pieces that you can change in the chart. So for example, 5 minutes, well, that's where we're at right now. If we wanted to change to a daily, we can simply click on daily here, or you could just type daily into the command line and it would do the same thing, right? Let's use weekly as an example. So weekly, we'll hit enter. Okay, and you can see that it's changed to a weekly time frame. I'm going to go back to daily just because I feel like it's a very easy one to just kind of keep on the chart. Other things that you can do with charts aside from changing time frame is you can add drawings, right? So things like horizontal lines, trend lines, right? TradeStation's got a bunch of built-in drawings that you can easily put into your chart, as well as the ability to draw certain objects, right? So these are things that you can do in your charting. For example, if you want to add a horizontal line, let's say you're trying to get a good idea of maybe some potential areas for support or resistance, right? Like maybe right here, you can click and drop in a horizontal line very easily. So let's see, is this iOS? I did that and it wouldn't stay set to daily. No, we are looking at the TradeStation desktop platform. This desktop platform runs on PC. If you're using an Apple computer, you would have to have either a boot camp to run Windows, or you could use Parallels, which is like a Windows emulator, and then you could run the desktop platform in that Windows environment. So this is not the iOS app. We'll be covering that one in a few weeks. Okay, so yeah, so you basically you can click on any one of these drawing tools and drop them in. Studies, the ability to add, indicators to your chart as well. TradeStation comes with a variety of different indicators that are preset. So as you scroll through here, you can see that there's quite a few indicators that TradeStation already has preloaded. But if you want to create your own custom indicators, you'll see later on, once you get into the easy language studies, that you'll be able to actually create your own indicators using the code easy language. That is what powers TradeStation. You'll be able to drop in custom indicators as well, and they'll appear on this list. For example, we'll just do a simple moving average. So you can add your moving average. You can choose to prompt to edit the moving average, and you can customize the different inputs in different fields, and you can place your indicator. For example, let's say we want to change the length to something else. You can, and there it goes. It plots right on there. So that's pretty much how you can drop in an indicator or a drawing, and removing them are very easy as well. You just simply click on the desired study or drawing that you want to remove. You'll see that it's highlighted with these little white tiles, and you can hit your delete key and it'll remove these from your chart. Same thing here with your drawing. You can click and remove. And there you go. It's very simple to add and remove different studies and indicators and drawings to your charts. Okay. Other things that you can do with charts, you can actually select your data. Here's where you can edit the symbol. In this symbol editing window, you can also adjust the scaling. So for example, if you want to change the way your chart is viewed, you can expand the range of the chart to include any studies that you have. So this is like if you had a moving average that was really far underneath or above, for example, or any study that's really outside of the range of the price that's happening, it would expand it to include that range, so you can see, those indicators appear on your chart. That's not something that you want to do. Or if you want to center the last price, you can do that as well, and it'll center everything down. So when you scale in, the last traded price will always be in the center of this scale right here. Okay, so that's pretty much charts. Another really popular application is the radar screen. So the radar screen is kind of like a list that, here, let me go ahead and quickly put the default here. Let's put on a default, just the basic list here. Okay, so the radar screen is kind of like a way for you to visualize multiple assets, right? Multiple stocks or futures or options or anything that you want to follow Basically, it's a watch list, but it's an interactive watch list. You can apply a lot of really cool things to it, a lot of studies. So let me give you an example. So let's go ahead and just add in a few symbols here. TradeStation has a few preset lists of symbols, and you can create your own custom symbol list as well. But let's go ahead and add, let's just add the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So it'll load 30 symbols right off the click. It's got even a little title for you and the index as well. The index symbol is here as well. And you can simply adjust this to whatever you like. So right now you can see that it's providing all the list of symbols for us to look at. And what's really cool is you can then take this list and symbol link it to something like a chart. And we'll go ahead and show you a real quick organization of charts here. So let's say you have a bunch of windows you want to organize in TradeStation, and you don't want to sit there, you know, with your mouse and you're trying to size it and line it up. TradeStation has a built-in window tool that arranges the different applications that you have open in your workspace. So for example, we can arrange these two vertically, and it'll automatically size it to the available space in your workspace. And that's going to make things a lot easier for you to visualize and see things. And then we can also link these two windows to update information together. So when I click on one of these symbols here, the chart here is going to update as well. You do that by clicking the little S on the top right-hand corner of your charts. If you notice that your bar is not appearing right away, that's because it's probably set to appear only when you click on the active window. So you might have to click on your window first to then click on this S. That's a setting that you can change right here in the application toolbar. So I have mine set to show all for this presentation, but by default, I believe it's set to show active. So when you click on it, you'll have these toolbars appear only when you click on the windows. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep it back to show all. Okay, so now that we have our charts linked, then you can simply click on one of these symbols here and you can see it'll update that information, right? Furthermore, the radar screen can also use the same types of studies that we add on a chart. So for example, let's go ahead and add another study to the chart, and we're going to add the same one to radar screen. This time I'm going to do two moving average using 2 lines. Okay, and we'll just do we'll just keep the defaults of 9 and 18. I'll go ahead and hit OK. All right, and notice now that the chart, because we changed the scaling settings, doesn't really show all this information, right? So we can go to data, we go to edit symbol, and we're going to change the scaling to now show those studies. So we're going to expand the range to include the studies. And I'm going to take off center last price. That way it looks a little bit better. And you can see now we have a little more information. We can see where the studies are relative to the price, and it kind of has everything nicely put in the scale for us. We're going to add that exact same study here on the radar screen. Okay, so we're going to look for the moving average. We can simply type in MOV in our list to quickly get to the area that we want to be in. Here's moving average 2 lines. We're going to add that in by clicking the add button. And I'm going to move this down all the way to the bottom because I want this to appear on the right-hand side, on the far right-hand side of my radar screen. Anything that we don't want here, you can also remove. So for example, if you're not interested in seeing the high or the low of the day, or the bid or the ask here, because you're just trying to use this as like a tool, you know, to update your chart, you can remove some of the things that you don't want. We'll go ahead and hit customize on the moving average 2 lines, just to make sure that they're the exact same. So we had 9 and 18 on the chart. We have 9 and 18 on our radar screen. We'll go ahead and hit OK. And now, rather than having to look at a chart to find out where the moving averages are, you can see them plotted right here on the radar screen. Now, one thing you're going to notice, though, is that these moving averages do not match the values shown here because we're looking at it on a 5-minute interval. And here we have it on a daily interval. So the solution to this is to make sure that you have all of your symbols matching the same interval as your desired time frame on your chart. So one way to do that is you can click on symbol and you highlight all your symbols, click on time frame, and then click on daily. Now you'll see that the moving averages have recalculated and now they're going to appear the exact same. So for example, we click on the symbol for Boeing here, which is BA. You can see Boeing's got 213.88 in the fast moving average and 207.24 on the slow. And you can see that these numbers are matching. Okay. And what's really nice about this is it takes a lot of the time that you need to analyze out from your research, because you can also set alerts with some of these built-in indicators. For example, with the moving averages, if we click on edit, you can see that we can be alerted, and the alerting criteria is when the moving averages cross over one another. So we can enable the alerts on our moving averages, right? And we can have them alert continuously, but we don't want to get pop-ups or messages. We just want it to visually show on our list. So we can put alert continuously, and we'll select none because we're just using this. We're using this to scan for stocks that meet the criteria of a moving average crossover, right? So we can hit OK. And now you can see on the radar screen, we have two that are appearing right now with a moving average crossover alert. So we can quickly take a look at those, and you can see right here, the moving averages are crossing over, right? Pretty cool, right? So it kind of makes things a little bit faster, right? So if your goal was to scan for stocks using this indicator, and you wanted to find out, when moving averages were crossing over as an example, then the radar screen really makes it easy to find that information. In fact, you can even sort by that information right here at the top. So if you click on data, you can click on sort, you can click on customize, and then you can select that criteria right here. So we can look for the moving to average 2 lines, right? Moving average 2 lines, the alert criteria, and then we can hit OK. And now anything that's triggered the alert is going to be at the top of your list. All right, so this is one way that you can really filter out and find things of interest really quickly using the radar screen. All right, now let's talk about placing a trade. So placing a trade, you can do that from multiple areas within the platform. You can do it in the charts. You can do it in the order bar. I'm going to show you how to do it the most basic way through the order bar. So let's say we wanted to place a trade on IBM. Okay. All you would have to do is select IBM, and you'll see that whatever you select is going to load here into your trade bar. By the way, the trade bar normally is hidden. So if you hover your mouse over any one of these blue bars, it's going to drop down the window that they exist in. If you want to keep it pinned, there's a little pin on the left side right here. You can see right now when the pin is not pinned down, it's set to auto hide. But if we click it down, now we have it pinned down. So now when we move our mouse away, that bar is not going to disappear. Okay, so we've selected our stock. We've loaded the information into our order ticket, right? This is basically our order entry criteria window, this order bar. And you can see that TradeStation displays some quick price information, the bid, the ask, the last traded price. You can adjust your quantities here. By default, TradeStation set to 100. You can always change this amount by going into the preferences, and you can go into order entry preferences. And for your equities, when you click on trading, you can change that information right here. So right now I have my fixture set to 1. By default, it's 100. There's a few other things that you can change here as well. Okay, so let's just go ahead and quickly run through placing a trade. So it's pretty self-explanatory. If you know exactly what price you want, you can enter that price in. And you can hit buy to buy or sell short. In this case, let's see what happens if we do a sell short order. I'm going to go ahead and put in a market order just so we're not trying to figure out what price to put in. I'll go ahead and click on sell short. This is then going to open up an order confirmation window. Okay, this order confirmation window is the very, very last step that you have to make any changes to your order before you submit it. Okay, a lot of us traders, especially, once you get into the habit of trading and you're used to trading, a lot of people like to turn this off. And what ends up happening is you might be really good at what you're doing. You might get into a rhythm or a flow, but sometimes we place an accidental order that we don't want to do, right? So it's very important that you keep your order confirmations turned on just to avoid simple mistakes like that. And also notice that I am trading right now in a simulated environment, meaning that for this example and for everything that I'm showing you today, I'm in a simulated account. So highly recommend that if you're following along with this presentation, that you're doing it in your simulated account, because we don't want you placing any trades in your live account if you're following along. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and submit this order. This is reviewing all the information. And if you had a limit order present in your example here, we had the limit, you would also see the limit order listed here just to confirm that that's the correct price. We'll go ahead and hit yes.
Order filled.
And you can hear, I don't know if you guys are able to hear that, but it's that classic TradeStation order filled sound. And you can see that our order now displays here in our chart, right? So of course, because this is set to such a large time frame, where we are in the day, it's kind of appearing down here at the bottom. We can always change the time frame on the chart and go up to something like a little more recent, like in a 5 minute. You can kind of see exactly where we got filled at in this bar. Okay. Another place to manage your position or to see your positions is right here in the position graph. So in the position graph, now that we have a position, you can see that the name of the equity is going to be listed right here, and you can pin that to the top as well. So some people like to look at this just to have like a quick snapshot view of what's going on. Another really great tool that TradeStation has is something called the Trade Manager. So the Trade Manager is one of the best places to find out information with your trade. So we click on Trade Manager. This is an application. So we'll open up the Trade Manager. And I'm going to go ahead and rearrange my windows one more time. So I'm going to arrange these vertically. So it's going to kind of move things around here. But here's the Trade Manager. And you can see right here, I'm going to full screen this. You can see all the information here with the order. Sorry if the text is a little bit small. We can actually adjust that. Let me go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. So in settings, you can click on window. You can click on displayed values. We'll just make it a size 12. So maybe it's a little bit better for you guys so you can see that. So it displays the time, when it got filled, the symbol, the type of order, right, long or short, how many, etc. Right? So this has got all the information. You can scroll here on the bottom right here where I'm hovering my mouse if there's just too much information, if you have too many columns set. You can scroll over to see all the different fields that your orders tab is going to have. So this is the orders, right? This is going to log every single order that you have, whether it's filled, canceled, replaced, everything that it does, it logs that order here in the orders tab. To manage your positions, we're going to skip over a few tabs here on the bottom. We're going to go straight over to positions. We're going to close this window. Sorry about that. I have an order filled alert. Go ahead and close that. In the positions tab, you can see now that we have a position in IBM. It tells you information about the position, tells you the last traded price, trade size, etc. Again, if there's just too many columns and too much information that you don't like, you can always go to settings and adjust that with the columns. So for example, maybe I don't care about the trade size or the exchange. Maybe I don't care about the bid size or the ask size, right? Maybe I don't really care that it shows me, like if we're not trading options, right? So we don't need contract expiration dates if we're just trading stocks, things like that. You can customize and hit OK. And there, it kind of shortens things up, right? Kind of makes it easier to read and follow. Again, those of you that want the text to be a little bit larger, settings that you can change right here in window. So this is where you change the settings. For example, these header settings, if it's too small, we can make those a little bit bigger. So you can see that kind of this, that you can double click on a column to adjust to the, what's being displayed in the values below, or, you can manually adjust them as well. So these things are not fixed. You can really customize this to be however way you want it. All right. So this is our Trade Manager app. The Trade Manager also displays balance information, which is really cool. Balance information, I'm going to go ahead and set it to the equities account. If you have multiple accounts, you'll see you'll have different account numbers appearing here to drop down from. And you can see it provides information about your account, right? Let me go ahead and expand this. So I made the text a little bit bigger. So it's going to tell you your account number. If you have an alias, what your alias is, and you can set to show your alias. So those of you that, are using YouTube, or those of you that are streaming your trades and you don't want people to see your account number, You know, you can always display your alias here at the bottom, or you can choose to hide this bar entirely, up to you. It's going to give you information about if your account's able to trade options, what type of account, margin and cash, how many day trades you've completed, right? Or those of you that are trying to watch out for things like the pattern day trading rule. So it's got all this stuff here for you. It also shows you what your real-time account net worth is compared to your beginning of day information. So it shows you where you started the day and where you are currently. Very, very cool. That's one of my favorite apps is the Trade Manager. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this as well. Now, let's say you want to exit a trade, right? There's a couple creative ways that you can do that. For the next example of how to place a trade, I'm going to be placing a closing trade, and I'm going to show you another app that you can place trades from. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and open another app called the Matrix. So the Matrix, maybe those of you who are familiar with the Matrix, this is an application that basically views price and volume information in a different way than how you would with the chart. So let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and arrange these vertically again. So this is going to display price and volume information just like a chart does, but the difference is that it's doing it in a way that's showing you the minimum increment movements of whatever the instrument is that you're trading. So it's going to show you the price, right, of your asset. And I'm going to actually expand this. So I'm going to move some things around on the chart so you guys can see a little bit more of what's happening here. There we go. So you can see it's got the price right in the middle, right? You have your bid and ask columns, you have your volume bars, and an actual volume quantity here. The volume bars is just graphically representing the amount of trades executed in today's sessions at a specific price. The idea is that it's just kind of showing you which price point received the most trades during the session. You can interpret that however way you want to, but that's what it's for, so that you can see that. And we have the corresponding quantity to support the graph, right? So the size of the graph is one thing, so you can kind of quickly see it rather than having to look at the numbers. And then the number is just telling you how many shares were traded at this price point. Okay. As we are in a position, you can see our entry position is going to be up here in red. So this is the position that we had shorted our share of IBM. And you can see that IBM's price has been steadily, what is this, dropping here. So you can see that as it's dropping, it's showing you the profit points as we go, right? So one thing with the Matrix is that you're able to place trades simply by clicking on the bid or ask column, okay? And it's a pretty smart tool. So for example, the current market is where this gray area is, right? This is the last traded price. So it knows that if you place a trade below, it knows that you're trying to buy at a specific price point below the market. And if you place the trade above, you can see that it's automatically changing it to a stop market, right? And same thing here. If we're looking at the ask column, anything below the current trading market on the ask is assuming a sell order, and it's going to put it in as a stop market. Anything above that, it's putting it in as a limit order. Okay, so since we sold to open, we need to buy to close. So we're going to be covering our position. So we can place our order simply by clicking anywhere. So we'll go ahead and click here, and you can see right away order confirmation pops up. It's asking us, do we want to buy to cover IBM at 128.63? Looks good to me. We'll go ahead and hit yes. And now you can see that our bid is resting right here, right? So this is in the orders tab. We can see that on the orders column, excuse me, you can see that our order is resting right here. And to change your order is very easy with this. You can click and drag, and you can change your order. And it asks you, do you want to change the order? And it shows you the price points that you're changing it to. You can hit yes, and right there, right away it changes. Again, you do have the option of removing confirmations. However, for our purposes, we're going to leave them on. And then, of course, if you want to replace the order with a market order, you can click on that little tab there on the, I don't know if you saw that. I'll go ahead and show you this little black arrow on the edge here of this cancel order bar. You can click on that. And if you want, you can simply replace it with a market order. Order fill. And now we're out of the trade, right? And you can check that in the positions column. So in the trade manager, you can kind of see now we are no longer in a position, right? Positions are blank. If we go to orders, you can see that we've replaced the order a few times, right? As I was dragging them in the radar screen. So here's the log. And this blue one here is showing us our entry, and this blue one on top here is showing us our exit. So you can kind of see and kind of fill in the gaps of everything that's happened between the time we got in, between the time we got out. All right, so that's the matrix. So I'll go ahead and minimize this down again. So here's the matrix order. Let's take a look. That's rad. Did that, only came in half screen, couldn't zoom either. Wonderful, nice. Okay, great, Colette. Happy you're enjoying this. How can we see closed P&L in the trade manager? Great question. So now that we closed our position in IBM, let's go into the trade manager to see that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our trade manager one more time. I'm going to full screen this for you guys. I'm going to take out our trade bar just so that we have a little more space. So now that we've exited our position, now that it's no longer here, maybe we want to see what our profit and loss was on that position. So we'll go click on balances, and you can see right here, real-time realized P&L way at the bottom of your account. So select your account, go down to the bottom, and you can see right here, it'll tell you IBM, what we made on the trade. So in this situation, the trade itself made 14 cents. However, the estimated commissions that are set in my simulated environment are assuming $1 per trade each way. So because it estimates that, it's saying that you've paid $2 in commissions, even though you've made 14 cents. So your net overall was a loss of 186. Those of you who have commission-free plans, you should see a 0 here for commission-free. Speak to your sales representative at TradeStation to find out if your plan is a commission-free plan or how you can avoid being charged commissions for your trades. But that's how you would find it. So we'll go ahead and minimize that. We do have one other app that I want to show you guys within the platform. So we got a couple of interesting ones here. So we have news, hot list, and scanner. I'm going to show you the news and the hot list. Okay, so with the news app can be symbol linked, just like any of these can. We can actually symbol link all of our windows to whatever, to our radar screen. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a bunch of windows here just to show you how this all looks. So I'm going to go ahead and arrange all. So you can see we've got like a bunch of windows now going on, right? I only have my trade manager hidden here at the bottom. And basically, let's say I want to select a symbol on my radar screen. Now, radar screen is linked to all these windows. So anytime I click on one of these symbols, all of this information is going to change, right? So now, let's say I want to know, let's say I got a trade set up, things are looking really good, right? I want to make sure that there isn't any important news I should know about maybe before I enter a position, right? Whether it's long or short. So now I have Coca-Cola set up here, right? I clicked on Coca-Cola. We got our matrix showing Coca-Cola. I can see the last traded price. I can see where the orders are. I can see all that volume information, right? Where the volume happened to be highest at what price point, right? I see my moving average information, all that good stuff. In fact, let me make sure that these are the same interval linking. So this one here will link the intervals. So now when I click on Coca-Cola, it switches to a daily interval. Remember, we want our studies to match what's happening on both sides so that we can make sure that we're cross-checking properly. And we've got also information about Coca-Cola here. So any news article on the Benzinga newsfeed, which is the newsfeed that is pulling in all these news stories, any Benzinga news article that is appearing with Coca-Cola's stock symbol is going to list here in the headlines. And you can scroll down and you can look and see what information about Coca-Cola. So right here, it says Coca-Cola's up from 41.23 to 60.91. This is looking like they're talking about how the returns break down from February 2017, right? So this is just an article that they're talking about and Coca-Cola is mentioned. Maybe you want to see where Coca-Cola stands with analysts, and then here's the information, right? So somewhat bullish, right? Somewhat bearish. So these are the different analyst ratings. So very easy to find information for Coke, right? 7 stocks to watch for February 10th. This was 5 days ago. So this is kind of older news now, but you can see that as news comes in, it'll refresh. We can take a look at another one like Disney, right? This new one here, 1 hour ago, you can read the headline, Disney launches new business to develop residential communities. Okay, so we know something's going on with Disney. We can see Disney's trading above the moving averages, right? We can see all this information with 1 click. So very, very cool, very powerful tool, adding news into this. Another really cool app is the hot list. So the hot list, when we open up the hot list, it may seem a little strange at first, only because it's got a lot of information showing. But let me go ahead and close out the news. And I'm going to go ahead and put the hot list here. So I'm going to rearrange my windows again. Oh, one thing I want to point out about arrange all. So you saw how it just rearranged all these windows. There is actually a logic to that order. So I'll go ahead and show you what the logic is. So basically, the very last active window that you click on will always go to the top left, and it'll work its way around, I believe, counterclockwise. So for example, let's say I want my radar screen to be on the top left, and I want this to be on the top right. We'll go ahead and go like this. So we'll click on radar screen, and I'll click on hot list, and I'll click on the chart, and then I'll click on my radar, my matrix window, and then I'll hit arrange all. So, and now you can see that it's kind of moved things around. So actually the last one that we clicked on was the matrix. So if I want this one to be here, then I have to make sure that the last one that I click on is my radar screen. Then I hit arrange all, and now the radar screen appears here. So you can see there is an order to it. So whichever is the last one that you click on will always be on the top left, and it'll work its way around. So right now we're looking at the hot list, right? So let me go ahead and full screen this one. So the hot list, wow, when we full screen this, this is a lot of information. Let me just make the columns, the font a little bit bigger here on this for you guys. Make it a little bit bigger. Hit okay. There, that's a little more comfortable to read. Okay, so with the hot list, basically it's a pre-built scanner that scans in real time for any of the following criteria that you can find. And there's more than just price. You can sort price, volatility, and volume. Okay. And as well, you can apply these scans to not just equities, but you can do it with options as well, right? Index options and stock options. So leaving it on equities is going to pull up any equity symbol. And of course, you can select by exchange. So for example, if you're only interested in looking at equities that are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, you can also change it like that. And then you could set, the pre-built criteria. So for example, let's say we wanted to find stocks that were approaching their 52-week highs, right? You can do that by looking in 2 ways. You have either by dollar amount or percentage away from the 52-week high. So for example, dollar amount will tell us the ones that are closest to it by $1. And you can see, like, for example, right here, we have ARCO. It's only 1 cent away as of the time that we generate the list. And this list will update every so often. Now, if it exceeds the high, then it's no longer going to appear on this list, because then it would appear on the break above 52-week high. So this is very, very defined to whatever's approaching the 52-week high. Now I can minimize this information, and we can symbol link this again. And this is going to act almost like another watch list. So anything that has the same color is going to update that information. So now I can click on this, and now these three windows are going to change, right? So now we can kind of see what's been going on with this stock, and we can see the price action here, again, in the matrix, right? So you can click on this, and you can see all these stocks that are approaching 52-week highs. And again, of course, this is going to give us maybe some different stocks that maybe you never thought about before, because some of these, you can see their price points really are varied, right? We have some that are penny stocks. We have some that are, well, not penny stocks per se, but stocks that are, under $5 may appear on this list. You can see as you scroll down, and you can choose to show the top 25, 50, 75, or 100 results on any of the criteria here that are pre-built. All right. Great. Okay, so let's take a look at some questions. So we've got, how can we see, let's see, market profile. So we got no more questions here on the side. That's great. So hopefully everybody is pretty happy with what you've learned today. And of course, very important is, let's say you've created a workspace that you want to save. You don't want to get rid of it, right? So whenever you log off TradeStation, you log back on, you don't want to have to rebuild everything that you just did, right? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to File, and you want to go to Workspaces, and you're going to want to save this workspace, right? So when you save your workspace, it's going to automatically save to the Workspaces folder in TradeStation 10, okay? So you can give it a name. We can call it, we can call it a sample workspace. I'm just using an underscore here just to know that this was from a from one of our classes here. And we'll go ahead and hit save. Now, when you save that workspace, notice on the bottom, it no longer says untitled workspace. And so now if I close this workspace, you can see now we have a blank screen. To bring it back, just go to File. And you can either go to Recent Workspaces and click on the one that you just saved, and it'll bring everything back. It'll take a moment to open because it's got to open all those windows and apply all those studies and everything back to the way you had it before. But you can see now that it does that. So that's one way to do it. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and see if I can arrange this thing again. Arrange all. There we go. This is kind of how I wanted to do it originally. Radar screen, chart, hot list, and matrix. All right, everybody. So that's pretty much it for our class today. Hopefully you all enjoyed the presentation. And if you have any questions about things that we didn't cover necessarily in this class, for example, I know some of you had questions about trading in iOS or how to do that. Join us in the Q&A session. We're going to be doing the Q&A session starting at 11:30. So we're going to take a 15-minute break now. We'll be back at 11:30, but we're not going to be broadcasting on YouTube. So those of you that are participating on YouTube and that have questions, go to youcantrade.com, create a free membership, and on the left-hand side, you'll see the Getting Started channel. From there, you'll be able to hop into the Zoom call. If the class is quite small, we'll turn on the microphones and we can all kind of chat and ask questions together. Otherwise, you can always drop a question into the chat room there in the Zoom room that we've got over at You Can Trade. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll hope to see you in the Q&A.